call this meeting to order, please. Ms. Schultz, please do our meeting protocol.
Welcome to the meeting of the San Dieguito Union High School District. If you wish to speak regarding an item on the agenda, please complete a speaker slip located at the sign-in desk and present it to the secretary to the board prior to the start of the meeting. When the board president invites you to the podium, please state your name before making your presentation. In the interest of time and order, presentations from the public are limited to 3 minutes per person per topic. The total time for agenda items shall not exceed 20 minutes. And individual speakers' allotted time may not be increased by a donation of time from others in attendance. In accordance with the Brown Act, public comments are limited to items on the published agenda. The board may 1, acknowledge receipt of the information, 2, refer to staff for further study, or 3, refer the matter to the next agenda. In compliance with Government Code Section 54957.5, agenda-related documents have been distributed to the board less than 72 hours prior to the board meeting, have been available for review on the district website or the district office. As a courtesy to all meeting attendees, please set cell phones and electronic devices to silent mode and engage in conversations outside the meeting room. Thank you.
This meeting is being conducted by teleconference. The meeting is being held at San Dieguito High School Academy Media Center at 800 Santa Fe Drive in San Luis, California, with an additional teleconference site at 3566 Val Verde, Long Beach, California. The telephone line is open, and board member John Salazar is on the telephone line. And John, I'd like to ask you to please read your statement regarding your meeting, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the sign will be successful to members of the public and to the disabled. Though I do have a woman here who is saying it's really not acceptable to the disabled, but she's here. Any member of the public can hear the meeting and testify. A copy of the agenda has been posted 72 hours in advance of the teleconference site. An opportunity is being offered to the public to address the board.
Thank you. Mr. Superintendent Schmidt, would you please begin with our introduction?
Okay. Test, test. Good afternoon, school board members, students, school board members, and members of the audience today. Welcome and thanks to all for being in attendance today. Tonight I will be asking and recommending that our school board of trustees approve the tentative agreement with the San Dieguito Faculty Association. An agreement that allows for continued budget stability for San Dieguito Union High School District and its taxpayers, while at the same time allowing for some financial security for our teachers and our counselors. As most in our community are very well aware, for decades, San Dieguito has been #1 in academics, arts, athletics, college eligibility, safe schools, suspension and expulsion rates, and soon to be the most modern facilities in the county. A large majority of our community is so pleased with our schools. Schools are made up of people, our fabulous students, our supportive parents, and our dedicated and caring educators. Like many parents in our community, I moved here 17 years ago so my children would be able to attend these schools, and that was long before I worked for this school district. I later decided to work here so I could be part of a #1 organization. Many parents and staff have done the same over the many years. For those who have taken the time to review the backup material on the financial impact of this tentative agreement, they would have noticed that San Dieguito Union High School District's historic strong reserves, which helped us through the latest recession without eliminating programs, shortening the school year, or laying off teachers. In the past, San Dieguito has always budgeted and reserved conservatively to navigate difficult times. And this 2015-18 three-year contract is no different. You may have seen our class sizes recently misrepresented. In fact, San Dieguito currently has its lowest class sizes in a decade. A special thanks to our community who has always supported investing in education. Thanks to my staff and to our teachers for all their work and their patience throughout this negotiating process. Speaking of process, a small number of people in the community have suggested school board members participate in employee contract negotiations. Not one other of the 41 county school districts currently do that. A handful of community members have attempted to claim this collective bargaining process was illegal. You may have read that somewhere and may even hear that later this afternoon. This process was, of course, absolutely legal, and in fact, a process that has been guided by legal counsel the entire way. This process has strict statutory regulations, all of which have been followed. The illegality claims are simply not true. People have made allegations based on misbelief or misunderstanding. Each board member was given an opportunity for input last spring prior to negotiations beginning. With this tentative agreement, I'm confident we will be able to retain and attract quality teachers, counselors, and other specialized certificated staff. All indicators from the Legislative Analyst Office, the California School Boards Association, the Association of School Administrators, and the California School Services Organization all show healthy California funding through this contract and beyond, making this contract a good fit for the district, all employees, and our community. This contract leaves room to add value to our current education plan and strategic themes and goals. Of course, continuing all of our current fabulous programs. As you know, in 2016-17, we'll be adding resources by expanding high school programs and courses. I will be asking the board early in 2016 for program and budget suggestions leading up to our 2016-17 program and budget workshop, all part of our budget restoration plan. President Hergesheimer, I believe it's time for you to call for the question.
I need for a I am asking for a motion to approve the tentative agreement with the San Dieguito Faculty Association for a 3-year contract for the period of July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2018, and revised board policy number 4141, attachment and appendix A, certificated salary schedule as shown in the attached supplement.
I move to approve the tentative agreement.
Excuse me real quick, just a moment of practice. Will you read the second?
We wanted to let you know, pages 1 through 3 of the board policy number 4141, the attachment is revised as 2 columns on these documents were inadvertently mislabeled. There's no fiscal impact as each and every dollar amount is unchanged from the original posting on December 4th, 2015. It was simply a copy and paste error in the titles on 2 columns, and the documents are in our packages and have been sent to Mr. Salazar electronically. So please, if I can have a motion.
Now, I would like to move to approve the tentative agreement with the San Dieguito Faculty Association for a 3-year contract.
Why aren't we having comments first? As soon as we have a motion on the table, I will go to public comments.
So why aren't we doing comments ahead of us?
We are not voting. We're just going to get the motion on the table.
I'm going to make sure that.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
All right, thank you. And at this point in time, then, I will ask, do we have any public comment speaker slips? As Ms. Schultz said, the comments will be limited to this one item that's on our agenda this evening. The board will not be engaging with the speakers. We have just our 3 options where we can acknowledge the information, refer to staff for study, and refer to our next agenda. I have one that says the name is taxpayer, representing taxpayers.
Thank you. I would like to read from Government Code Section 54950, also known as the Ralph N. Brown Act. Section 54953. If the legislative body or local agency elects to use teleconferencing, it shall post agendas at all teleconference locations and conduct teleconference meetings in a manner that protects the statutory and constitutional rights of the parties or the public appearing before the legislative body of a local agency. Each teleconference location shall be identified in the notice and agenda of the meeting or proceeding, and each teleconference location shall be accessible to the public. Reading also from section 54953.2. All meetings of a legislative body or local agency that are open and public shall meet the protection and prohibitions contained in section 202 of the Americans with Disability Act of 1990 and the federal rules and regulations adopted in implementation thereof. One of the locations notified was 3566 Valverde, Long Beach. That location is a private residence. It is not open to the public. Neither does it conform to the Americans with Disability Act. I have a photo here showing the entrance is inaccessible to anyone in a wheelchair. That non-compliance with the ADA makes this meeting unlawful under the Ralph M. Brown Act. I'm demanding that it be adjourned and that a new meeting be scheduled with locations compliant with the Brown Act and also compliant with the Americans with Disability Act, so that all members of our society can participate in this public discourse. If the meeting is not immediately adjourned, I would please ask you to call your attorney and confirm that this meeting is in violation of the Brown Act. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schmidt, please.
Okay, thank you for your comments. And again, we anticipated this, and in fact, we have counsel prepared to speak to that. I'd like to introduce Peter Fagan.
Thank you. The compliance standard for the Ralph M. Brown Act is substantial compliance. And based on the information that we have heard here tonight, is that there is one individual from the public who is attending at the teleconference location who happens to be disabled, who says that the location is not accessible or does not meet the legal standards, but yet reasonable accommodation has been provided and that individual is actually in attendance. And so under the substantial compliance standard for the Ralph M. Brown Act, I believe that the district has complied.
So, President Hergesheimer, based on counsel's advice, please carry on with the meeting.
Okay, that's the only speaker comment I have at this time, so I would ask that we move into board discussion. And at this time, well, actually, first I should ask Mr. Salazar if you have someone at your location, did they want to also speak? Did they ask? Okay, I'm going to put them.
I'll hand the phone over to her.
I could not access this meeting by getting the meeting doorbell, and I had to shout through the door in order to get somebody to come out. And that is not because the grant. It's not just for one individual, it is for any person to be able to have access to public meetings. I am asking that the meeting is adjourned because we did not fulfill the requirements of the Brown Act. It's not right for a person to come to the meeting and have to go through the obstacles that I had to get into the meeting. It's painful for me to get up and walk. You're not allowing me to go back out again and walk after I finally got in. And another person is going to work there, wasn't really disabled, wouldn't be able to access the meeting at all, sitting outside waiting for somebody to come out.
All right, thank you, and I appreciate, and I'm sorry for your inconvenience, but we've been giving counsel that we may continue this meeting. So I'm going to move forward and ask for our board to have discussions on this item. Are there any particular questions or